welcome back to another episode of the How Long to Beat podcast, a podcast made by members of the community for members of the community. My name is Matt, and I'm with my co-host Leah.
Hello.
Today, not available are our usual co-hosts Roy and Diallo, but that is not a problem at all because we have, on this very special episode, a lovely guest from the community. We are here live on air with GamerAim.
Hey.
Before we will talk about who GamerAim is, a little rundown of the episode, as today we will be talking about a special topic later on, chosen by our guest, which is going to be VR gaming at large, and however far we want to stretch that term, our own experiences with it, our hopes for its future, and what else we can think of. As well as at the end of the episode, another round of the tried and true game that is Guess the Game, where the aim of the game is to guess the game. I will be giving clues to a game that GamerAim has beaten in the past, and we will see how quick all of us can guess it, I guess, except for me. But before all of that, firstly, the obligatory questions. Like GamerAim, who are you and what are you doing and how long to beat?
I originally got into the website to figure out how long it took to beat games. Big surprise.
Makes sense.
Because
Shocker.
I used to spend the weekends at my dad and get an Xbox 360, so I would use the site to figure out what games I could beat in a weekend or two. I think the first time I ever used it was to look up BioShock 2.
Oh.
And then I used it for tracking games and I used the forums for a while and stuff. So that's what I'm doing here. It's a lovely group of
people. Most of them. I'm sure.
Most of them.
Yeah.
We've had our Chazes in the past.
Yeah. I mean, don't we
or
all?
Chaz, whatever.
It's the spice that keeps the community together often. So it's
yes.
It all makes sense. It all has its place.
I've been at the receiving end of that, so I get it.
But you have fans with your hot takes. I'm one of them.
Yes.
So yeah, we appreciate our people.
I've cooled down. I was a very hot-headed teenager.
Yeah, and again, then weren't we all?
Yeah.
But that's actually I'm seeing on your profile you have your account since 2015. That means you're on How Long to Beat for more than 10 years, which is actually amazing. Didn't the site just when did the site get made? I feel like you were really early on this. Maybe I'm not sure actually.
I think I was, but not early enough to get the first adopter little label.
Oh yeah. Oh man. I miss the little labels that Everdread used to give out for people based on stuff.
Oh, did he remove them, or does he just not add them anymore?
He's not adding new ones, is what I mean. Yeah, that kind of stopped at some point, as far as I know.
Yeah, so I'm still squashed.
Right. So you said you're truly using this website mostly for the actual name giving feature to track game times.
In the beginning, not so much now. Now I use it mostly for collection management.
Sorry, for what?
Like completion management and stuff.
Right,
and
yeah.
managing my collection and stuff.
That makes sense, yeah. That answers the questions. What you're doing and how long to beat. So I guess the next obligatory questions before we dive into the actual discussion topic later is the things that we, the hosts, we ask ourselves this every episode. So now as the guest, you are obligated to answer these questions. Number one being, GamerAim, what have you beaten recently?
Not much. School takes up most of my time, but I have been playing a very interesting idle game called Melbourne Idle that I'm really passionate about. In fact, just the other day, I got 100% completion in it with hip hip hooray.
100% completion in idle games always sounds completely crazy to me. How do you even do that?
I've played it for like over a year.
Right.
It tracks your completion in terms of, so it's based off of an old game called RuneScape. Surely at least one of you has played RuneScape, right?
I'm aware.
Yeah.
Okay. So it basically just tracks your completion in terms of skills that you've maxed out, all the items that you've collected, each monster that you've killed, and the pets that you've collected. So it just tracks that, and then you get a little pop up when you complete it, everything, and it's like, woohoo! Thanks for joining us.
Wait, so is this but it's not connected to actual RuneScape, it's just inspired by it?
No,
Okay, I see.
yeah, it's like an idle RPG.
It's like a watered down version of it.
Oh.
Yeah.
Where it's just like this. So have you played it?
No, I've just seen a couple videos and whatnot. I know the legends.
No, I mean Melvor. Have either of you played
Oh,
it?
I've
no.
heard of
Oh,
Melvor.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm really looking forward to the sequel coming out, but I'm on the last expansion right now. There's just something so addicting about it. It's immersive in a way that's like very different from VR, but scratches a similar kind of itch. If that makes any sense whatsoever.
that is hugely interesting, but I cannot figure out how you mean that or what that.
I can explain it later if you'd like.
Oh, okay, sure. I'm actually very curious about that. So So this is the game that you beat recently. I guess that moves us on to our second obligatory question. What games have you retired or paused recently?
I have paused the Mass Effect remake, not retired, but I paused it, and The Witcher 3, like right at the end, because I was playing them over winter break. And I got right up to the end, and then school resumed before I could beat them. So I got like 2 hours left.
It's always pesky school, yeah.
Yeah, I know.
Real life.
More like GamerAim right now.
GamerAim, nerdy aim.
Life will do that to us.
Right. But this is not your. Obviously, this is not your first Mass Effect playthrough, right? I feel like you're pretty infamous for being a big fan of those games.
Yes, it's especially the first one. The first one is one of my favorite games of all time. In fact, since I was thinking about like VR and Mass Effect yesterday, I got it to run in virtual reality, or at least in like stereoscopic 3D with my headset. So I was like fully immersed in the game, and I got to see my favorite characters like with my own eyes, not through. I mean, it's hard to explain, but it was just seeing the grass wave in 3D was just God, I love that game, and I got to experience it in a whole new way.
Did you use like a fan-made mod or something, or is there an official way to do that?
I used Vorpax, an app called Vorpax that kind of turns DirectX and I think Vulkan games, and like hooks into them and kind of creates 2 views and then makes them stereoscopic 3D. Some games it supports full head tracking. Mass Effect is not, because although I have a mod for it that makes it first person,
oh gosh,
it's not really meant to be first person, so it doesn't really support full head tracking because it's not built with the mod in mind.
Yeah, that's the thing that I think I've just recently had a conversation about that with somebody on the Discord, on the How Long TV Discord. All of these the software that's making flat screen games into like VR playable 3D stuff, I don't have the enthusiasm for that, because those games are obviously not meant to be in VR, and like like I would hate to play a first person shooter in like a VR form, because that would probably just make me throw up. It's just not built for that. But I guess I could see something like when you play Mass Effect in 3D. Am I understanding correctly that you still have basically a screen in your VR space that is just stereoscope? Yeah, okay. I could get that for sure. But yeah, I feel like most of the time.
But in the other ones, it's awkward when it's the full head tracking, because like you've got the gun glued to your head and stuff. Yeah. I get what you mean. It's weird.
Yeah.
Man, have you ever played Doom in VR, like true VR with hand tracking and everything?
The official Doom VR thing, I'm assuming?
No, it's like the original Doom and Doom 2 ported to the MetaQuest.
Okay, that is
I
wild.
played it, and it is. And I love the original Doom. It took me a long time to get into it, but once I did, I was hooked. And playing it in VR is something else.
I feel like
it's confusing as hell.
Yeah.
Trying to navigate those confusing maps in VR. But it's an experience, that's for sure.
Yeah, I feel like that's one I'm scared of playing any of those.
I know I keep skipping to the topic.
Yeah, I mean, we can tease the subject when it comes up naturally. I feel like that's fair.
But yes, those are the games that I paused, but I plan to beat them.
Right. And then I guess the
Okay.
last obligatory question here before we go into the discussion topic. What games are you currently playing, or like what have you been playing actively recently?
Still Melbourne.
Right.
Finishing the last expansion for that. An idle game is all I have time for right now.
Yeah.
I know that's going to be a recurring theme. What are you playing? Nothing.
Yeah.
Believe me,
I went through
that's-
that recently.
Exactly, yeah, that's been happening with us as well. Every now and then, that's completely understandable. And since, from what I'm hearing, you are writing important papers for if you're
Yeah,
studying,
well,
so that's
yeah.
completely fair.
For sure.
Yeah, that Batman game though, I guess tell me about that a little bit. What the heck is even Arkham Shadow?
Oh yeah, because that's what I've also been playing. I don't have much time to play that, but that's what I play besides Melville Idol. So it is a MetaQuest exclusive. Have you
Oh.
played like the Batman Arkham games?
No, I tried one of them and like skipped out of it for, like after 10 minutes. I did not care.
Okay, that's fair. It's very similar to Arkham Asylum in that it's not this massive open world. It's more like constrained spaces. You're like in a prison in Blackgate.
Oh,
But it's got like all the basic gameplay upgrades, combat. The combat's been adapted to it, but it's adapted really well, and you really feel like you're punching these thugs and stuff. And you got the exciting like pow pow, like yeah,
so it is a
That's amazing.
first person thing, and you are
yeah, it's first person.
yeah, you're punching your enemies. I do.
Yeah, but you can even like hang upside down and stuff, and it's
Ew,
trippy.
that okay. I mean,
You take a certain level of discomfort in VR.
yeah, I'm assuming. Yeah, I do have to say, punching in VR. I always love to see that. I want to see more of that. I feel like action games, like they usually just go with the guns, with the firearms, but like punching in VR, so good, so good.
So fun.
Yeah.
And they do it really well. You can hear the crunch of like the rib cages as you're punching them and stuff.
I love the crunch of my enemy's skull under my fists. Beautiful.
I mean, you're Batman.
Yeah, right.
You feel it.
Isn't Batman?
You've got grappling hooks and stuff, and it's the full Batman simulator.
Isn't Batman the one that vows not to kill anybody or whatever, or is that just?
And probably so, yes. He's like, I'm never going to kill anyone. I'm never going to use guns. But it's like, bro, there's no way that these people are all surviving.
Yeah.
Head trauma that you're inflicting.
Yeah.
He won't use guns, but Alfred uses guns.
Like he should.
I guess that's one reason why you would want to have a butler around to do the dirty work like that.
Yeah.
Well, I think the in-universe thing is that he was in the service when he was younger, so like he knows his way around a gun.
Yeah.
So he's like, no, guns are useful, whereas Batman's like, a gun took my family, so we're not doing that. So I understand both of their points of view on it, but still.
Yeah.
Yeah, he needs. I kind of want to say he needs therapy, but I'm also kind of hesitant to say if you have anything against guns, go to therapy.
Yeah. There's definitely more to.
I mean,
I don't know what message that's.
He may need therapy for more than just the gun thing, though. So.
Surely.
Yeah, there are underlying issues. I mean, that's why I love Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice Ultimate Edition. Yes, I'm gonna say out the full title. It's one of my favorite movies ever. I love that movie because it goes into the psychology of that.
Isn't that the Zack Snyder film that?
Yes, I love Zack Snyder.
I mean, I like the guy, but that movie was not for me, dog. Not in the slightest.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Hey, Civil War wasn't for me. It wasn't political enough.
It's fair.
I compared the two because they came out in the same year, and it was like superheroes versus superheroes.
Yeah.
So there was a lot of comparison.
All right.
This isn't the How Long to Watch podcast.
Yeah.
It could be though.
Yeah. Speaking of long ass movies.
Right. It would be like a How Long to Watch website would be very strange with people just logging. People just logging, watching their stuff on like double speed or whatever for a speed run.
That would be so weird. I was thinking like the collection aspect and the what have you watched aspect, which does exist.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that those probably do have the runtime of the movie though, which can be very useful. in limited circumstances that I can't imagine.
Yeah, me
Yeah.
neither.
Like, I've only got an hour and a half to watch a movie. What do I watch?
I mean, I'm sure there's always a good movie in whatever length you have, but yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
especially
Yeah.
3 hours. Then you want a Snyder film.
and some movies you can even watch in 3D via your VR headset, which is also a nice thing.
Oh
I know I
yeah.
watched Shrek in 3D. That was pretty good, and I would probably do it again someday.
Huh. Where do you buy that?
I
I assume
don't.
it's like an official version.
I'm just.
You don't.
I'm unapologetically pirating my movies most of the time,
Oh.
including 3D Shrek. You can just download a Blu-ray rip or whatever.
Okay, that's fair.
I
And then
think.
you watch it on your computer.
Well, I put it on the MetaQuest app, big screen. I think it's called. It's been a long time,
Okay.
and I think you
I
can
think I know the one.
I think I did like legally rent a 3D movie via that app before. I think that was probably like Jackass 3D or something a long time ago.
Nice.
That's interesting.
Nice.
Which, yeah, so you can do that as well. I wonder, actually, I haven't looked at that in a long time, what the state of that like movie renting services or whatever. Because 3D movies are
Yeah,
cool.
I don't know what the state of that with 3D is.
Yeah.
I would watch Shrek in 3D.
Yeah, hell, you damn
I've never
straight.
seen the film, but I would watch it in 3D.
The best way to do it.
Donkey.
No.
You can see his tail just wagging at you in 3D.
Yeah. Pooping straight in your face. Straight from the
Now
swamps.
that's the jackass I like.
Right. All right. We are fully in the VR mindset right now. I was about to say
Yes.
headset, but that's not really it. So let us actually dive into the discussion topic, and we got a couple questions on our notes here.
Okay.
I guess it makes sense to start at this specific one. Why the hell do we even care about VR gaming? Especially since it's obviously not as widespread as the enthusiasts would like to believe it is. It's not a household item yet, I guess, and it might never be. I don't know. But we are into it. And why is that, other than Shrek 3D?
Well, that's a good question. For me, it comes down to dreams, like literal dreams, like that you have at night, and then trying to live out that sense of immersion. Because that's whenever I get out of my VR headset, I feel like I've just woken up from a dream, like where I could do fantastic things. I can fly around, I can be a superhero, like I can actually live another life in another land.
True, and it's actually surprising how little high fidelity it needs to be immersive enough, I feel.
Yeah.
So yeah, I can
I mean,
see
yeah, you
that.
can have like low poly, blocky worlds, and if it feels like you're there, it feels real.
Yeah, true. I the thing with me was with VR that like I'm a pretty monotonous PC gamer, I guess you could say. I do not have any like consoles or whatever because everything I want to play, my PC is doing just fine. I never like got the urge for another platform to play on. When the VR headsets became more available, though, especially for me, it was the infamously cheap at the time Oculus Quest 2 and whatnot. That was like actually finally, here's a platform that is truly providing a unique experience. And that was then, like, after decades of not buying another platform, the reason to actually put some money into something that is not just my PC. And I rarely see, like, people make arguments that consoles have their own things and whatnot, but in my
Which I would agree with.
Right, but in my day-to-day living, it's not something that I'm experiencing really, and the VR headset is that I want from a gaming platform, which is a truly unique experience, and that doesn't like show up often, which is where my enthusiasm comes from with these VR games.
Yeah.
So Leah, as I understand, I'm not sure. Do you even own a VR headset, or did you own one in the past, something like that?
I have. Technically, our family owns the PSVR, which I only got because I wanted to play Moss,
Yes.
Still haven't played Moss,
Oh.
but I wanted to play that, and it was the only thing that I was like, this is going to be the one reason I buy a VR headset at any point to play this game. And then there was Trover Saves the Universe or whatever it was called, and the Rick and Morty VR reality
gosh.
game. And so it was like, okay, if we can find at least 10 games that we want this headset, for, and it's not just going to be like buy it for a game, because it was like pretty expensive. It was like, I think
Mhm.
when I bought it was like 350, and I was like, I didn't have a gaming PC yet, so it was like either we're getting this for the PlayStation, or I'm also buying a desktop computer and the VR headset for that. So it was just like we had to figure out like which we were gonna do. And VR headset combo package that I bought actually came with the Iron Man game,
Oh yeah.
which I also still haven't played. But the problem is I got it and I played through half of the Rick and Morty game, because at that point I had rented it from Gamefly. So I had that one, played half of it, but my room was too small to actually play VR. So I kept stumbling over everything, and I was like, okay, you know what? I own it now. I'm just gonna put it to the side. When we move and we get more space, whatever, I'll do it then. I moved out, gave it to my dad. He started playing like some aquarium game or some
What?
marine
Oh.
I don't know, some game that he found that has like marine life or whatever. And he was like, "Oh, it's so great. You can like go swimming and stuff and octopuses." And I was like, "Okay." Um, so he still has it connected to his PS5, and I haven't touched the VR headset since. But yeah, I have like a list of games that whenever I get back to, having the space, I do want to get through that.
But I do have to
So
say, when I got my Meta Quest 2, I was living in a like a student dormitory thing, and I didn't have like any walking space in my bedroom either. I still was able to play a lot of things that were, using just a stationary setup.
yeah.
I guess I don't know what the PlayStation VR thing has in terms of settings, but something like Moss you could have for sure, which is, I mean, that's a seated
Mm.
experience anyway. Um, but
Yeah.
I love that you mentioned specifically Moss as like the game that kind of put you on that path to wanting to play VR.
Yeah.
Because for me, Moss, when I got my system, Moss was one of the earliest things that I noticed available on the store. And it always seemed to me like, why would I get this fancy tech to play what seems to be a fairly simple 3D platformer?
Mm.
I didn't
Right.
really see the benefit, but when I actually played the game, tried it at some point, um, it did became one of my favorite VR games, just because being in the actual space of the world, even if it is just a platformer, being in the space of the world and like having all these little things to interact with the individual elements does so much more to the experience than I
Mm.
anticipated at the time. That was like one of those eye-opening VR things. I feel like when somebody who doesn't have experience with VR thinks of VR stuff, they often, I don't know, they think of, I don't know, shooting guns at people or whatever, like all the
Right.
action stuff, the natural first person experiences. But like, yeah, it even enhances a lot of these third person experiences just by the setting and the peripheral vision, I guess. It's wildly powerful.
Yeah.
It's interesting that you say that like people usually just want to like experience the violence or whatever, because there were two types of people whenever I told them that I had just gotten a VR headset. Half of them, like the gamer people that were like niche people, I guess that would be like part of the How Long to Beat community. They were like, "Okay, you need to play Moss immediately." That was like always the first thing
Interesting,
people
huh?
would say. And anybody who just knew of VR in general, of like, "Oh, that's something," they would always mention Super Hot VR.
Yeah, that makes sense to me.
So it was like that was the only two things that I was like, okay, I can always tell like where people are coming from depending on like what they would recommend, and it was always those two games.
I mean, I love that Moss has been recommended that that easily, that readily, because I feel like
Yeah.
as a VR game, it's not that exciting of a sell, but it is absolutely a fantastic game. But again, yeah, I guess that
Yeah.
might just be me. Okay, so I was gonna ask what our first VR headsets were, which I said it. Mine was the Meta Quest 2. You said it was the PS VR system.
Yeah.
What did you start with, GamerAim?
The first one I ever owned was actually the Samsung Odyssey.
The Samsung Odyssey.
Wow.
Yes, Windows mixed reality headset.
Oh,
I also
wow.
had a Windows phone, so you know
A Windows Phone seemed kind of
There
cool
we
at
go.
the time. So, is this
they seem cool.
is this a Samsung VR headset thing? Is that even still a thing? I can't
I don't
say.
think so. It is. I
Yeah,
don't.
okay. So I'm assuming you upgraded to something else since then.
Yeah. Well, my first experience was PSVR, but then, like I said, the first one I owned was the Samsung,
Right,
and then now I have a Meta Quest 3.
right, yeah. See, that's the.
Which is pretty good.
Are you planning on getting rid of that thing? Because I am eager to get
No.
rid of meta stuff.
Hey, no ethical consumption, right?
That is
That's my policy.
unfortunately true. I am completely with you there. But I gotta say,
And I got on a payment plan, so I'm still actually paying it off.
oh yeah.
Oh, okay.
I gotta say
So-
though, as soon as that Valve VR headset comes out and is at a reasonable price, I am happy to get rid of my Meta device. I really wanna get out of that ecosystem,
so
get
good.
into another one that's potentially not better, but it's hard to be worse than Meta these days.
But out of the
That's
Zuckerberg.
true.
Yeah. So okay, I got the Quest 2. That thing does not really offer any mixed reality stuff. Really, it has a thing where you can see your surroundings, but it is all like ultra grainy black and white stuff. Like it is obviously some early VR tech thing. And I think the Quest 3 was one of the earlier ones that truly was able to show you your surroundings in full color and whatever the heck.
It does.
Which also enabled proper mixed reality gaming, which is an exciting concept. I don't know how far we are in that though. Like, I would actually love to hear from you if you have tried out much in that space.
Yeah, I've played a few things. There's a free game called, I think, First Contact, and it basically turns your room. It doesn't work so well in my dorm, but I'd like to play it again someday. It turns your whole room into like an alien invasion.
Hell
It like
yeah.
tracks where the walls are, and the aliens like break through the walls, and it's like an alien landscape. And they come through the ceiling, and it's wild.
Yeah,
And
I
you
want
use your
that.
controllers as a gun. It's trippy because it feels, because it's all in color, right? So it works really well. I was blown away. VR is one thing, but mixed reality just
Yeah, I mean, I remember still in the past when I was a little bit excited about mixed reality on phones with, I don't know, Pokemon Go and that shit, where it like projected some virtual thing onto
Oh, yeah.
the real environment through your shit ass phone screen. But of course, yeah, the virtual reality version of that is the virtual reality headset version is like a whole different beasts. And that's kind of like one of those tech things that I have been excited for a while, but I've never, with the Quest 2, I've not been able to try it out. I have seen games like you explained where your real apartment or whatever the heck is getting like overrun by some evil creatures and you have to like shoot them up. It's like probably the simplest game
Yeah.
you could make in that space, which, makes sense since it is such an early technology. But I don't know, it's hacking exciting, and I would love to see what people could make in terms of more expensive experiences, mixing this digital realm with your real environment. That's I must imagine, a hugely difficult task, since they must have they must create an experience that fits any environment imaginable, I guess. But I'm sure there are clever people around there that can come up with concepts that are like contained enough that they work universally or enough that still have more to offer than just shoot the bad guy. I really hope that we are gonna see a future where that is a bigger thing.
Well, there are some mixed reality experiences beyond just shooting the bad guy that I played. If you want to hear more about them,
Oh yeah, I would love to.
there's a mixed reality sword fighting game, which is still violence. But then there's a game called what's it called? I never look at the title of it because it's pinned to my little taskbar thing. Um, but it's like a punching game, not where you're punching people, but you're like punching notes to the music.
hmm
And that you can play in mixed reality. The notes like come out of the wall and into your space, and you like punch them. It's like Beat Saber, but with punching.
Right,
It's
yeah.
actually a really good workout. And then there's a puzzle game, which is really interesting. Oh, and Angry Birds. You can play Angry Birds VR and mixed reality as well. So there are some non-violent experiences, but nothing that's frankly quite as transformational as First Contact,
Right,
where it
yeah.
just like completely takes over your space. But it's interesting being able to see like puzzle blocks or the little piggies and the birds and whatever. It's interesting.
I do own that Angry Birds VR game, so maybe if when I upgrade my headset, I can finally enjoy that in my real bedroom. That would be truly exciting.
Yeah, and you can play it with hand tracking too.
See, hand tracking, I'm still iffy on, but maybe that is also just because I have the older system, the Quest 2.
Yeah.
But I actually, maybe I'm just too boomer for it. Maybe I'm just not ready yet. But something about your hands being the controller and not having actually an object with buttons in your hand, I'm not there yet. I don't like it. I can't really say why.
That's fair. That's valid. It's definitely limited in its applicability.
Yeah, but I would assume that's also gonna be standard at some point. And I could see, like, one of my biggest gripes with VR games is throwing objects because you don't
Mm.
when you have a controller in your hand, you're not gonna throw an object. And the way your momentum and whatever translates in the game with the object, I've never played a VR game that actually accurately translates your real movement momentum to the object in game. When you throw it,
Mm.
it always seems to have like its own physics.
I agree.
But I feel like with hand tracking, that would probably make it more natural at least because you can actually let go or something, I guess, and not have to
Yeah,
throw something but holding something. That's just super awkward.
but it's still limited by the fact that like it can't always see your fingers, in a way that it can always tell when you're pressing a button.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, I didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
See, that's one of my, okay. Oh my God. See, that's one of another points in my book against the hand tracking because one of the things that I love about VR gaming the most is the multitasking ability and that comes with the peripheral like awareness where you can like hold two guns and aim at like completely different targets in your space and whatever without actually having to look at that direction like you would with a flat screen game or whatever. I
Mhm.
guess that would not
Okay.
work with like hand tracking then. Yeah, I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, just
Mm.
because your palm occludes your
Right.
fingers if they're facing away from you.
Yeah.
But it works well for what it is.
Right. Yeah, I mean,
It's impressive.
I'm sure it makes sense for specific experiences more than a controller. I'm sure of that, yeah. One day I will embrace it as well. I'm
Yeah.
also sure about that. Okay. Then
If it doesn't all just die.
yeah, I feel like at this point it's not gonna just die. It might slow down, but I doubt it will disappear like that, like other things. I don't know.
Yeah.
Now we already like sort of talked about some of these things, but I have one question here on our notes sheet that I find I guess it's an essential question in this regard. What does VR provide that flat screen gaming can't? Like would regular as gamer even wanna care to put on that headset when they could play anything on a flat screen? Is that the case? I already mentioned the peripheral vision and the space that is not bound to your screen, where you can actually interact with things all around you without actually having to focus on one thing visually. That changes so much in an experience with the added immersion that it brings, and the possibility for different gameplay styles that you could not replicate on a flat screen.
Yeah, it's the immersion, really.
And we mentioned support VR already, which I do understand as being the perfect showcase for a VR game and what it provides, because it does have that very like motion focused full body control in a way where all of your movement speed actually has an effect on the game, and where you have two guns a lot of the times, or like an object to throw in one hand and a gun in the other, and like you have to actually be aware of the space all around you and multitask in hitting all these different targets at the same, or not at the same time, but like, quick enough and whatnot, which that is an experience that is not replicable on a flat screen. You only have one focus at a time on a classic game.
Yeah.
Which is one of the biggest like advantages of VR gaming. But what else is there? What makes VR so special?
Yeah, I'm not really sure. Like I said, I mean, it makes you feel badass in a way that, even God of War doesn't.
It's true.
I mean, that's just the fact of the matter. But it can also, this kind of gets non-gaming experiences, but it can immerse you in landscapes all around the world.
Yeah.
With something like Google Earth VR and other types of apps we can talk about later, they can help you see details that you wouldn't otherwise notice and really have the chance to notice on a flat screen.
Yeah. Yeah, that is true. Yeah. We will definitely be talking about like non-gaming experiences later on, where I think a lot of that is gonna be bigger thing. But yeah, the power it has in transporting you to a place you wouldn't be at in a real world is surprisingly effective with this technology. Another thing is I always remember this in the earlier days when I had the VR headset for the first time. I remember how effective the eye contact with NPCs was, which that's not gonna happen in a flat screen game, but when you're standing in a space and the person is actually in real size in front of you and has eye contact with you, even if you know it's completely just a bunch of polygons, that has an immense power on the immersion. I guess immersion obviously is the main word when it comes to VR gaming, but that's just one thing that I never like forgot about that first experience and how much that did. I think that's probably also one of the reasons why Moss was so effective for me, because you can interact with that mouse protagonist that you're helping run through these environments, and you can like wave to them and they wave back. And that would never have the same effect on a flat screen. It just cannot be replicated.
Yeah.
And another thing I think that makes VR so special, I guess, is that you can immerse yourself in an environment, like fully immerse yourself with your entire body in an environment. And yet the rules of that world can be completely unexpected and non-realistic. And I guess that the way I say it sounds like it's a video game, but it's different. I remember playing Paranormal Activity, The Lost Soul, I think was called, which is essentially a VR haunted house game. And the thing about what made that game scary is not that there's like spooky ghosts running around, but it's the fact that you have to worry about the entire space around you and not just what's in front of you, like what's in the way it is in a flat screen TV, kind of. Here, you are in a semi-realistic space and you still cannot know what to expect from where the spookiness is gonna show up. They could like do a bunch of trickery and you are kind of like still in the world and have to endure it. I feel like that's a bit difficult to describe, or I'm struggling with it at least. But it's just the feeling that it makes, the feeling that it creates is
Yeah,
wild. And it still like surprises me, even after years of playing VR games. Sometimes it still surprises me how effective that can be.
yeah. There's a sense of presence beyond just immersion.
Yeah. And just the idea that the world around you can like genuinely just completely change and surprise you with anything at any time is almost existential. You could, of course, throw the headset off at any moment, but while you're in there, it's still, I don't know, the anticipation is completely different than in any flat screen experience.
Absolutely.
Have you two ever played any horror games in VR? I feel like that is truly some of the most exhausting shit.
I barely want to play horror games on a flat screen.
That's fair, yeah.
A little bit. I saw on MetaQuest that there was some kind of Resident Evil game, but I think it's some kind of like spin-off, and I just wasn't interested.
Yeah.
But I played a few like horror, like locked room kind of experiences, like the Room VR.
Yeah, I still need to play that one.
Interesting, because that was like on the Horizon Plus, wasn't it? I don't know if you have Horizon Plus.
No, I don't. No.
Okay, that's fair.
But yeah, locked room games is a whole genre that that's like just perfect for VR. I love that shit.
Yeah, it's great with like standing. You don't need a lot of space. I'm saying.
That's I guess that is a question to ask anyway. Do you prefer stationary games or room size games? Question for all. I guess the lame answer would be depends on what the game is. But truly, I think I have my favorite. I love a room size game where I can actually physically walk around the digital world, even if it doesn't actually add anything to the game. Just being able to move my head to look at objects, it's crazy.
Yeah, I think it's a little jarring sometimes when it's a game that's very strictly standing only, and it like does not react well when you try to move more than like a foot or something.
Right, yeah.
Like I played games like that where it just is like, nope, you can't do that, and it's just like, okay, that kind of feels like it defeats the whole point of being in VR.
Yeah.
Right.
I noticed that sort of thing, especially in the early VR games. It's actually there's a certain hallmarks where you know that, oh yeah, this game was definitely done a while ago or whatever. Yeah, especially like these like stationary things. I played basically a sort of rail shooter game recently, but it also has walking elements. And that also it strictly wanted you to stand in one specific spot and not move from it, even though with your character you do have, you know, a lot of movement control through these environments. And it was truly like this is in the past. We don't live here anymore. It's kind of funny
Yeah.
to see those things sometimes, especially I guess because VR isn't actually that old yet, at least as a consumer entertainment technology. But even there, I feel like there's still a lot of changes, especially in the quality of life things in how games are designed, which is kind of interesting.
Yeah.
And I think rarely studied or whatever. At least I don't see that stuff, but I feel like the way that people make video essays about the evolution of this game and whatnot, I can't say that I've seen people like actually dive into the history, even if it's young, the history of VR game development and how that changed much. But there's definitely stuff there. I'm probably just missing that. It's probably out there.
I have no idea.
Yeah. It's unfortunate though that I don't know that right now. Having talked about a couple of these features that we appreciate already or like have experienced already, I guess there's another question here about the things that we would want to see in the future of VR, whether they are likely or not, be it specific games or specific mechanics that we could see used well in VR. Any ideas from you two before I go with my dumb bullshit?
Eye tracking?
Sure.
Eye tracking. Ooh.
I mean, that's coming with the Valve headset, right?
Oh, is it?
Because that is using eye tracking to only load where you are actually looking on the dual screens to save on like data and whatnot, that sort of thing. So I'm sure it can also be used eventually for other things.
Yeah.
I don't know really what's out there in games to begin with to even know what is missing to add to that.
I guess that's fair.
But yeah, it always astounds me the journey that VR has taken from like Virtual Boy back in the day. So it's like, even like you said, you know, like the environment like responding to you in VR in a way that you can't with a flat screen game. It's like eye tracking it probably would be a little too real for me in a game, I think, because there's certain games where like browser games that will kind of pay attention to your eyes anyway, and I hate that stuff. So it almost feels like a privacy invasion for me. So I can only imagine how I would feel with a VR game that did that.
I mean, it's tracking your body already. Might as well do the eyes too, I feel.
Yeah.
But there's an intimacy to eyes, I feel.
Yeah. I just wonder what you could do with eye tracking, really. I guess you could do a Superman game where your laser eyes actually go in the direction that you look. That would be one thing to do with that.
I think something with horror games could be interesting, where more precisely like things move when you're not looking at them or something. Like, so you see them out of your peripheral vision, but you don't really see them. I could see it kind of playing with that.
Yeah, that's a good point.
That could be spooky.
I actually find it funny that you mentioned the Virtual Boy there. I might have mentioned this on a previous episode of the podcast, but one of the first things that I did when I got my VR headset was load up a Virtual Boy emulator to experience that amazing technology. And I mean, it's I mean, it was truly a moment of the Virtual Boy was too early for its own good, but now we have the technology to experience those amazing 10 games or whatever they are in like proper comfortable technology. And I still recommend this wholeheartedly. It's playing Red Alarm is wholeheartedly worth the price tag of a headset, of VR headset. I will stand on that ground. As for things that I would like to see improved or like innovated in VR gaming, one thing that's probably unrealistic, but I think about that pretty often, is like actual sword fighting and the sword. GamerAim, you mentioned a sword fighting mixed reality game earlier. And like I love sword fighting in a VR game. I also feel like that is one of those things that really benefits from your full body tracking, similar to, of course, the punching, which we talked about earlier. But of course, it is missing the physical impact. It is missing the actual haptic feedback, and you probably could not ever replicate that with realistic technology anyway. So what I would actually love to see is sword fighting games that take that into account. And that might exist already. I'm not aware of it, but I want a sword fighting game that has an in-universe excuse for why there is no physical feedback to it. And if somebody
lightsabers.
Yeah, like that. Exactly, except I guess if lightsaber hits lightsaber, you traditionally still have resistance, but of course they could just get rid of that and I would be fine with it. But that is definitely something that I want somebody to do. Somebody out there, some VR developer, please make a sword fighting game that I don't know, that doesn't have that. That doesn't have to have the physical impact and break the immersion that way. That would be great.
Yeah, that would be interesting.
And another thing that I am always looking for when I want new VR games is like them truly playing with different perspectives and like impossible perspectives in real life. I remember playing A Fisherman's Tale early on, which is a puzzle game that has you experience yourself from different points of views to solve puzzles in a way. More bluntly speaking, you're in a room where there's a miniature version of the same room in there, and you can see yourself move around from like this higher perspective and have to like interact with yourself to solve puzzles and whatnot. And it's like these ideas that again, that is something you couldn't really do in a flat screen game. You could probably do it, but not to the extent of a VR game. And that is the things that I really want VR developers to dive more into. A game like Superliminal, which was all about
That's what I was
Yeah.
just thinking about.
like that
Yeah.
in VR, making actual like use of the peripheral vision of that and the depth perception would be insane. And I would pay quite a bit of money for that, probably.
Yeah,
would actually rule.
that would be super trippy.
At the same time, I think that kind of raises the question of one thing that VR can't do is a superliminal type game, literally like an adaptation of that. I think because it relies on the last perception.
Yeah, I mean,
So going back to a much earlier
Mm.
question, that is a mechanic that I think actually would not work in VR. I know that you don't mean literally superliminal, but just made me think.
yeah. It's definitely true that Superliminal is very much built for the flat screen where you do not have depth perception. I mean, that's the only way that perspective
Mm.
play works. But I'm sure there is different perspective-based puzzles that you can do with the
Yeah.
depth perception. And I mean, it's the same with Super Hot and Super
Absolutely.
Hot VR, where I think before I played VR games myself, I didn't really understand what the difference is, but those games are completely different. And I could imagine something like that with Superliminal like, as well, I guess. But again, that was just like an example, basically.
Mm.
And another thing that I would like to see, which maybe exists as well, maybe you GamerAim have experience with this or whatever and can recommend me something. I don't know. But I feel like there's a lot of opportunity for like interactive fiction in a way that allows you to move around the stage of the play that you're watching, basically. I know there's one game that I still have to play called The Invisible Hours, which is basically a real-time murder mystery, like the Clue movie, like the Cluedo movie, where you are
Oh,
able
okay.
to just walk around the entire mansion and just see where people are and what they are yapping about, and then trying to figure out who did the murder or whatever the heck. And like that full freedom around the space, again, this is truly something that you could do on a flat screen, for sure. But that is the sort of thing that I would love to see um, with the immersion of a VR headset. Just an interactive story that like doesn't even necessarily require you to really impact the environment much. That gives you the full freedom of experiencing the story in the space that it's taking place without like restricting you to specific points of view. I feel like that's something that VR headsets would really foster well. And I'm kind of surprised that I don't see it more often. But again, maybe I'm just looking in the wrong corners.
No, it's one of very interesting ideas, I think.
Thank you. No, I'm the idea man. Who's the doing person though? I need somebody to actually make
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, I wish I had more time to devote to making games. Once I graduate, I want to spend more time doing this. Maybe I'll take some of your ideas and not credit you.
That's honest. As long as I get to play it, I'm good.
Good luck. I'd have to actually finish a project. Like once I have a proof of concept, I'm just like, okay, I've proved I can do it.
I would definitely love to see your attempts at something. That would be actually dope.
Well, fingers crossed.
Yeah. I'm gonna use one of my points that I want to see more as a segue, as a clunky segue into another question. Another thing that I would like to see in VR is just experiences that let you, and we kind of like mentioned it already, let you just visit real life locations in a VR space, just to, as an educational thing, or like just an experience to see a place in the world that you would never actually be able to travel to. Just give me a high-res 3D scan and let me stand in it. I'm all good. And there are experiences like that out there. And that brings me to the question.
That I do want to do more of when I get my hands back on
Yeah.
a VR headset.
And that brings me to the question of what are everybody's favorite non-gaming VR experiences, which could be things like that.
I know yours is
Watching
Shrek.
movies.
Mine is Shrek.
Yeah.
Yeah, but even like aside from that, I remember there was also early on there's an experience, a software called House VR, which is a genuinely educational experience that lets you visit a faithfully recreated digital version of the house that Anne Frank was hiding in. And that is definitely a valuable use case for a VR headset. I think these things are nowadays pretty widespread in museums as well, where you can like experience something like that.
That's true, yeah.
But it's cool when you get to have these things at home as well if you own the device. And people do some interesting things with that. A long time ago, I did an experience that it was called On the Morning You Wake, which was like an artistic like experience created to retell that false nuclear attack warning that Hawaiians got like years ago, and like the existential dread
my
that
God,
they
okay.
experienced. And this was
Oh.
like a sort of presentation of that to bring to you the experience that these real life people had through the space of a VR experience. Again, like a very interesting way to use this technology, and surely just like the tip of the iceberg of what could be done with this stuff. And that's definitely something that I hope that spawns more things, even though I guess even with the gaming section of VR is already not like the most lucrative business or whatever. So I guess this, I assume, is even a step lower on priority lists, probably. Although then again, museums are using this stuff, so maybe actually there is another source of, I guess, resources for these things that could make them possible.
I feel like that comes from like there were a few museums that were using like DS lights, I think, for like their tours and stuff like that. So like I think that sort of brought the art world and like the museum sector to, oh, we can probably use games a little bit to help people immerse themselves a little bit more in the education aspects of this. So having these kinds of experiences come to VR kind of is like the next step in that, where to bridge the two of them together.
Yeah. I remember even my parents were like talking about some, I think, aquatic experience they had at a museum or whatever. And like they even years after, they still like mention that sometimes. It's kind of funny to hear that from people that do not have any touching point with like more traditional video games or whatever. Of course, this is not a video game, but the technology is like close. The context is there.
Close enough, yeah.
What I don't get though, this is a complete tangent or whatever. This has no whatever. There are places where you can like rent VR systems at a like game station somewhere and then play games with people that you bring on the spot. And I always wonder like what's the point of that? I feel like that those are not cheap either. And at that point I feel like just buy the thing yourself. I don't know who the target audience is for these sort of places, but I see them around.
Vacationers.
I don't know. I guess I don't know. It's just
I feel like that was the thing on not Airbnb, but or maybe it was like Zillow, where like they started out with like the 360 room tours of stuff, and then, but I don't know that I've seen VR ones. I have seen like Airbnbs and Zillow listings where they'll have like a map, and when you click on the map, it's like it takes you into the house, and it's like a whole 3D version of the house, so you can like walk through. And that's a wild thing.
Yeah, I heard about those things.
Experience.
That's pretty. It's kind of wild to have that around these days. Yeah, it's I don't know. It feels like an unexpected technology, but it makes sense. That's kind of amazing to me in that sense. You, GamerAim, you early on you mentioned the I guess there's a Google Earth VR thing, which I actually never heard of, and I feel like I want to try that. I feel like that's exactly what I want. Just put myself in places around the world.
Yeah, it's fun.
I was just wondering how that even works, because surely they don't have, I guess like scans of a lot of places or whatever they do.
Yeah, but they do have scans of, some places. Like Christ the Redeemer, that big old
Yeah.
statue in like
Oh,
Brazil
yeah.
or something like that. You can go see that. I just like flying around. I love flying. I love
I
flying
feel like I
around,
would
flying up in
throw up.
space. It's scary. Hey, have you played No Man's Sky?
No, I haven't. No.
Have you played No Man's Sky in VR?
Especially not that, no.
Because that is flying a spaceship around. Best time I ever went to throw
Yeah,
up.
I mean, in theory, I would probably agree, but like my stomach can't handle that for long. Just a couple days ago, I had this.
Not a good one.
Just a couple days ago, I had this thing from Steam called Solar System VR, I think, and I was kind of hoping it would just be like a software that would put the solar system in a digital room, and I can just like walk around and like experience like the actual distance and whatnot. It would have been very fitting with the recent end of the Artemis 2 mission that I was watching, and this would have like been a cool companion piece. Unfortunately, that's not what that software was. It was more like a 10-minute virtual reality video where you were sitting in like a spaceship thing and flying around space on a set trajectory, and that made my stomach wobbly for sure. I cannot deal with that. It was not what I wanted at all.
That's okay.
There is something about that, like racing games as well in VR sound super cool. But I get car sick in real cars. I'm gonna get super car sick in a digital car. That's gonna like actually make me puke like streams, unfortunately. That's why room scale games are definitely my preferred experience. That is truly where the peak of VR is for me.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess we already like mentioned a couple, but I didn't actually like blatantly post a question of our favorite VR games yet. I guess I kind of skipped over that. But I guess obligatory question: what are our favorite VR games?
Minecraft, Doom.
Minecraft.
There's this adaptation of Dagon, though that's more of a non-gaming experience. Yeah, I got Minecraft. Well, Minecraft used to have official VR support. It does not anymore. But back when it did, it was super interesting.
That's interesting.
Batman, obviously. Walkabout mini golf.
Yeah.
Super hot VR, of course. That game I can't remember the name of, where I punched the note.
Is it Power Beats VR? I feel like that's something that
No,
I've seen.
it's not called Power Beats.
I've tried a bunch of different like VR rhythm games, but honestly, none of them have like reached the satisfaction of Beat Saber. Something about Beat Saber is actually special. I have tried to pinpoint that over the years, and I can't find it, but it's just doing it all right. I feel like there's barely any room for improvement there somehow.
Yeah, I can't remember the name of it, but
that's fine.
It's out there.
I feel like most of my favorite VR games I've already also mentioned. Superhot VR is also on high on my list as well. Again, it's a perfect like showcase game for VR capabilities. And Moss is one of my favorite games almost in general. That was a magical experience, and I still have to play the sequel, which I'm kicking myself in the ass every day for not having done that yet. It's gonna happen soon, I'm sure. maybe I'm gonna be fired up enough from this conversation to actually get to Moss 2 soon. And Fisherman's Tale is actually the same. I mentioned it already, the perspective bending game, and there's also a sequel for that I still need to play. And I truly hope it like manages to, expand on its original premises in a cool way. But like things that I did not expect for myself to end up like is something I would call a favorite. For example, there's a thing called M4thew VR, which is a German thing. I think the English title is like Crazy Chicken VR or whatever. And it's just like a VR shooting gallery game based on an ancient German, shooting franchise.
Oh yeah.
And it's the simplest concept. Shooting galleries, of course, are dime a dozen on VR, but it's one of the most polished, most fun ones that I have seen out there so far. And that I always love to give that a shout out when I get the chance to talk about it, because surely not a lot of people are out there playing Crazy Chicken VR. And another thing that I feel like deserves a bit more recognition is a thing called Last Labyrinth, which is a sort of Saw-like puzzle game where you have to get out of deadly puzzle rooms, although you are wheelchair bound and have to do it all with the help of a non-verbal companion character who you have to point to things, and that's also just a really clever idea and provides a bunch of interesting puzzles that make use of the VR space. That's the sort of things that I really love to see in VR gaming, and I want people to notice those and make more, I guess. But that's where we are. Leah, Leah, you didn't really play much VR, did you?
I played 2 games on VR.
And which one was your favorite?
I feel like it didn't really have much to do with the VR, but the one I enjoyed was the Trover Saves the Universe.
Oh yeah.
Rick and Morty kind of. The humor in both of them are the same, but something about the Rick and Morty one just didn't really hit for me. So Trover was fun. The only thing I will say I liked about the Rick and Morty one was just being in the universe of Rick and Morty and seeing like the garage and the living room and stuff and being like, wow, like I felt like I was in, The Simpsons or something, where I was like, wow, this is actually where they live. But yeah, I think Trover was the better game of those 2.
Yeah, there you go. Okay. I guess that is pretty much it, huh? Or do we have anything left unsaid about VR gaming that we still wanna put out into the ether?
Oh, the game was Synth Riders. Synth Riders, that was the name of it.
Synth Riders. Okay, yeah, I think I've heard of that. Okay. There we go. Last minute correction right there. So let us move on now to our final chapter of this podcast, of this episode, which is going to be a little game that we will play. This is an old game that previous podcast hosts have played, and we have also played this on the early parts of this season of the podcast. This is a special edition for GamerAim as the guest. And I shall explain what's going to happen here. I have looked at GamerAim's completed lists on How Long to Beat, and I have picked a mystery game from that list and looked up a couple completion notes from other, community members. I will let you know one after another, a completion note for the main category, later for the main plus category, after that for the 100% completion category. And you two will have the task to guess what game this might be. And whoever gets it the earliest will win this epic game. This epic game of Guess the Game, where the aim of the game is to guess GamerAim's game.
That's a mouthful.
So, again, GamerAim has beaten this game. I will not give any more information about it. But here is the first clue. This is a main completion note by a user called Ibrahim CK, who completed the game in 15 hours, 41 minutes, and wrote, "This game is legit the best story-based game ever made and ever will be made." What is it?
Life is Strange?
So you're locking in Life is Strange? What's Leah's guess? That came very quickly, though. Seems like you're confident about this.
Yeah. I think GamerAim knows what GamerAim has.
I mean, that is fair, but it is debatable what's the best story-based game ever made.
I'm gonna say Last of Us Part 1.
All right, so we got Last of Us 1 and Life is Strange. And Yeah, it looks like this is a very quick game because GamerAim sniped that immediately. It is indeed Life is Strange. Didn't even need a second
I'm
note.
sorry.
Iconic.
I was like, let's see, story-based game, 15 hours, great story.
Yeah.
Life is Strange.
There you go, yeah. It's a good sell, I guess.
Thank you, Ibrahim.
Yeah, shout out to Ibrahim CK. There's another quote, another completion note that I really liked from a user called Decade Decaf, who just wrote, sacrificed Arcadia Bay, more like Arcadia Gay.
Oh. Okay, that would have given it away instantly.
Yeah, I know. That,
Yeah.
I wouldn't, that would have been my like last minute hint if nobody got it, but clearly that was absolutely not needed. You know exactly what the best story-based
I
game
agree
is.
with the note.
Yeah, clearly. Wait, you agree with Ibrahim CK or Decade Decaf about sacrificing Arcadia Bay?
The second one.
Yeah,
I lost sleep over that, but I would do it again.
I also sacrificed Arcadia Bay, and it wasn't even a hard decision for me.
No, I mashed that B button faster than I've ever hit a button in a game.
Yeah. We're on the same page.
I knew what I was doing before it gave me. Yep. I'm a monster, I admit it.
Oh, you and me both. That's why I'm glad to have you here on the How Long to Beat
After
podcast.
everything we went through to save her life.
yeah, exactly. Like, why the hell would I like care about this random place? It's not even our responsibility to save them. Anyway, that's a completely different subject. This is not the Life is Strange episode, unfortunately. But this was the GamerAim episode, and we are coming to the end of it. Before we say goodbye to the listeners and thank them for listening, do you have any last notes, GamerAim, for the people out there?
Just thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for being here. This was actually cool to have you on.
And I'm right about everything.
Yeah, I agree. And that is it. Thanks everybody for listening. Let us know about your favorite VR experiences, dear listener, or what you would like to see in the VR space. And give me recommendations for the games that I want to see and can't find. You know what I was talking about earlier. Anyway, that's it for us. We're gonna say goodbye and good night.
Bye.
Bye.